Hey everybody, welcome back to another set of D&D stories, and today I, Brian Von VA, will be discussing your favorite way to troll your players. That's right, those, well, maybe sometimes harmless, but otherwise really rambunctious moments where you, a DM, will mess with your players just for the fun of it. And if you, yes you listening in, have a way that you like to troll your players that's just dying to be told, put it in the comments down below. Until then, DMs of Reddit, what is your favorite way to troll your players? I need a volunteer. What for? Shall I choose then? What's your marching order? Who's up front? That often gets the paranoia going, even though I'm usually asking to get a better image in my head. My favorite intentional troll was the perfectly mundane tavern called the Mimic Inn. Another fun one was giving a low-level party a wand of disintegration. Not, mind you, a wand of disintegrate. All the wand does is turn to dust. I'm kind of fidgety, so I'm often rolling dice for no reason, which is another classic method. I have an item I made which resembles a spell scroll with a tag around the handle. You can give this scroll to someone and the tag will translate into a language the person holding it can understand. The tag will have the most clickbaity title ever, like 400 clerics of Lathander gather to sing for dying priest, or something to that effect. Anyone who takes the scroll has to make a DC 22 wisdom save, or be compelled to open the scroll and read it. The story inside will bring them to tears, causing them all to roll saves, checks, and attacks at disadvantage for 1 minute, as well as be unable to cast spells with verbal components due to being unable to speak the verbal component of the spell. Once a person has been affected by the scroll, they can't be affected by the same scroll again. A creature with an intelligence score lower than 4 cannot be affected by the scroll either. An evil-aligned creature automatically succeeds against the spell's magic, though they get a feeling in their mind that they are indeed a heartless bastard. I call it the Scroll of Onion Ninjas, and I routinely hide this scroll in magic shops and loot piles in my games just to mess with the players. I also have a magic shop that only sells prank magic wands, like the Wand of Wet, which is a wand that looks like a wand of web, but instead just conjures 10 gallons of water which pour over the caster's head. Or the Wand of Self-Shock, which looks like a wand of lightning bolts, but only shocks the caster like a joy buzzer. Also, the 10-gallon water, ooh, easy way to stay hydrated. I troll my players by hosting a session for them every week. They still think I'm actually good at DMing. You're clever. I thrive on long cons. I wrote a serial killer into the game a year and a half ago and firmly cemented him into it. He is the captain of the guard and the party loved seeing him and hanging out with him and counted him as a trusted ally. Their world was shattered last week when it was revealed, and the mental gymnastics they are doing because they're in denial is unbelievable. He is a half-elf minority in a city where elves and their descendants are treated poorly, and only got his rank by being good at paperwork. He has a stutter due to major anxiety and stress he has been under all his life, which just added to the party's perception of him. Who would suspect poor stuttering Professor Quirrell? Oh, now I gotta go watch Harry Potter again. I check for traps. You don't find it. Wait, what? I didn't originate this and don't remember where I stole it from, but I have a city encounter that I love. A player finds a coin purse with an obvious treasure map leading to a nearby location, usually with all caps notes about urgency and secrecy. When they follow it, it leads to a tavern called the Loot Crate, with sketchy patrons giving the player the side eye and a chalkboard behind the bar with a bunch of tally marks. The bartender tries to get the player to acknowledge that they're here for the treasure, and when they do, the bartender turns to the crowd and announces, "They're here for the treasure, lads!" While cheers go up, drinks are raised, and coin changes hands. The bartender adds a tally mark to the chalkboard, claps the player on the shoulder, and offers to buy them a drink for being a good sport. It's ARG viral marketing, baby. Mwah. I place random monster minis behind the DM screen for those who peek. Ooh, you're a nightmare. Sometimes, I like to paint on some manticore models I've been working on when my players decide it's going to be an RP-heavy session, and I'm not actively needed. It started as a legitimate thing to pass the time, but now I'm just dragging it out because they freaked out the first time, and have no idea when, if these 3 manticores will be dropped on the map. Spoilers, it's probably going to be 2 sessions from now. Let the player see an invisible Mind Flayer mini, clear plastic, and then occasionally ask for perception checks. Oh, you're a bastard. How do you open the door is a classic. Either that or asking for a marching order because I'm usually very lax on positioning outside of active combat. Do you take that healing potion now? Why? Just checking. I open the door. Okay, you approach the door and twist the knob. Do you twist clockwise or counterclockwise? Shriekier fungus. A fog rolls in. You hear a loud scream to the left, then another to the right. More, and suddenly you hear terrified wailing all around you. Literal hours of the party creeping through a thick fog, trying to work out how to stealth past the totally harmless and completely motionless screaming mushrooms, or debating if it's worth the risk to fight them. Are you attuning to it? Okay, cool. Another good one is asking, hey, player, what's your passive perception again? And when they answer, just go, okay. I had a campaign where I kept replacing friendly NPCs with doppelgangers. Oh no. I decided to keep doing this until the party started getting suspicious and paranoid. They never did. They were always surprised by the reveal, and I would always hate you for that. A player walks down a corridor by himself. I say, you hear a click. Then have all the players roll initiative. You stepped on a button that is attached to an already tripped trap. I once placed a very obvious mimic chest as a reward for defeating a bunch of beholderkin, except it wasn't a mimic. I would never put a mimic in such an obvious place. Guess what happened when they found their second chest? They didn't even think twice. That's what you get for metagaming. In the dungeon hallway, they see a 10-foot wide pit trap. No problem, they can jump that, right? The pit trap's an illusion. It's actually solid floor. The solid floor just past the illusory pit trap? It's actually an illusion hiding the real pit trap. Oh, you're a scumbag. But that is genius. That's Dungeon of the Mad Mage level genius, winky face. I regularly hand out spell scrolls of True Strike as magic items. I hold a note card and tell them, you found a magic item, just for them to discover it's a spell scroll of True Strike. Does a 34 hit? I'm just making sure. Ran a dungeon like a literal funhouse, full of magic mouths that narrate how great the creator of the dungeon is. A dungeon with an intercom and an automated guided tour. Hey, can I get some perception checks? What's the highest? 21? Oh, okay. And then move on like nothing happened. I hate that so much. No matter what the number rolled is, whenever someone tries to hide, I simply say, you believe yourself to be hidden. What a clever and evil way to twist words. I have 3 in every campaign. First is actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf. There are some stats out there on the web. Anyways, he shows up around level 5, and if the players don't decapitate him, he just keeps coming back to life trying to eat them. If you don't know about actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf, YouTube it. It's lots of fun. Second is the trebuchet trap. A snare trap wraps up a character's leg and hurls the character half a kilometer. I save this for higher level players, since they typically survive impacts at higher levels. Third is the sock puppets. At some point in a campaign, I give the players an encounter with some sort of therapist, whom they need to please, who insists on the characters having a group therapy session using sock puppets. I have an actual sock puppet I made. It's really fun watching my players roleplay their character who is role-playing a sock puppet trying to express the various traumas they experienced during the campaign. I actually really like that, and I want to do that now. Room with 3 treasure chests and a book called How to Identify a Mimic on a Stand. The treasure chests all have neat little treasures in them. The book is a mimic. Tell them there's a lever in a room, but have the lever do absolutely nothing once the character spent 30 minutes discussing if they should pull it. This is like the room with the button in the center of the room. The room locks as soon as the players enter. Pressing the button causes a 10-second timer to go off. The lights in the room flash. The doors rattle. Everything sounds like it's going to explode. The players will inevitably push the button again, hoping to stop the counter, which it does. Now, the solution to the room is to let the timer count down to 0, which opens the doors. This one's kind of juicy. My players recently found a large bag of gold off a guy named Rick Vold. In 4 days, it's going to turn into a bag of stones with the phrase, "You've been Rickrolled." None of them picked up on anything so far, but they're never going to be let down. And baby, you're never going to hurt them. We play on a virtual tabletop, and sometimes to lighten the mood in a long dungeon, I'll put the icon for a Tarrasque or something behind a door in an otherwise empty room. That's pure evil. Give the players Electrum. Building entire sessions as setups for a punchline. As an example, the Duke sends them to check in on a village's well-being, but the well-being is actually a sea hag living in the well who has been acting up of late. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and leave a comment right down there below, telling us your favorite way to troll players. And if one of you manages to troll me, Brian Von VA, or MrRipper, or anybody on the team, hey, you know what? We're going to respond. And we're going to cry about it later too. That said, if you want to see me cry in real time, you can come do so on my Twitch stream, which I actively encourage all of you to join in because I want to get to 1,000 followers before the year's end. Brian Von VA at Twitch, or you can just go in the description below to see my website if you want to, check out my voice actor work, hire me, or come say hi anywhere. I'd really appreciate it. I'm lonely without all of you. That said, though, I do want to end this on a positive note. We are on the home stretch. The way to 2023. It's been a long time, hasn't it? And I would not change it for the world. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to know all of you, and I'm excited to see what the next year starts to bring in for everybody. So may the end of the year bring nothing but joy. May the final month bring you happiness rather than sorrow or sadness. May the last month, this little December, bring you a lot of love.